My dad was a large and in charge kind of guy. He always felt like he was in charge of his destiny, and the first thing he said when he woke up from surgery was, "I am no longer whole, I'm now a disabled veteran." And even though it had been years and years since he had been in the war, that's what was in his mind. So he felt like he had totally lost control of his life. We contacted hospice right there in the hospital, and Betty came and just sat there with me through my tears and held my hand and told me, that it was going to be okay. They wanted to know who he was and what kind of man he was, which was very important to me because I wanted them to know what kind of a man he was. They didn't ask a lot of nursey questions. They asked about, about his life and what he was all about. I think family members always feel like that they're not doing enough. And to hear a nurse say, "It's okay, you're doing enough, this is part of the process." So that mental support to the family is so important, I think. The last 24 hours was very difficult for me because my dad was dying, and I think part of it is I couldn't really accept that this was his last day, and I was very frustrated, and I called the office and I just wanted to speak to a nurse. And I talked to her for a few minutes and she said, "Hang on, I'll be right there." She didn't ask me if I wanted her to come. She knew I needed her to come. And she came to my house from Rome to Rockmart, a nice long drive, and she sat with me for about 2 hours and told me what I was doing was right, but that all I needed to do was just be there. The earlier you can bring hospice in to care for your family member, the better, because that transition, they get to know the hospice nurse, they get to feel the caregivers giving the care, and you get that emotional support along with the nursing care and the other the support. And the earlier you bring them in, the more the family member is able to cope with the issues of death and dying also. So we tried to bring, for my grandfather and father, tried to bring hospice in as early as possible, and we're so glad we did. After all the flowers are gone and the cards stop coming and people kind of forget that you're still grieving, hospice still is there. They send letters, about support group. They even in my instance, did call one time and just called my cell phone just to check on me. And so I think that aftercare and that support is so important because most people, after someone's passed away, they don't realize that you need that kind of care and support for quite a long time afterwards. We've used Heyman Hospice for all our family members, so of course I feel like that they're the best. They really embody what I expect hospice to be.